Hey, welcome back. This is day 8 for Habits for Happiness, or of Habits for Happiness. This habit that I want to talk about, this is more of a mindset or mindfulness tool, something that has been really useful for me to see and start to implement in my own life, but something that's also become really obvious that I see that many people do the opposite of, which, while this habit can be good, I think the opposite can be really negative or have negative impacts in our lives. And what this is focusing on what we do want instead of what we don't want. So this goes both for how we think about things in our own mind and how we express ourselves verbally to other people. And really the change in thought is the biggest portion, and it's the most challenging because we're like in our own little private world. And often we don't even realize like how we're thinking about things, how we're articulating things to ourselves. But to give an example, I guess it's important to point out that the way we think about things is largely the way that we see things externally. Like situations happen and we have, a large portion of how we perceive them is based on how we're, our attitude toward them. Or I should say, a large way of the role that they play in our lives, whether they become good or bad, is based on our perception of them, the way that we interpret them. So I'll try to give a couple examples. If we're thinking about saying something that, or framing things in a positive way, the average person, and if you pay attention to this, you'll see, they constantly are talking about what they don't want. Like, I don't want to be sick. Versus I want to stay well, I want to be well, I want to be healthy. I don't want to lose my job versus I want to maintain like a positive means of employment. I don't want to go broke versus I want to have money, I want to be financially stable. I don't want to be out of shape versus like I want to be in shape and feel good. I don't want to be unhappy, I don't want to be depressed versus I want to feel happy, I want to feel good. So it seems like a small thing, and it is a subtle change, but it makes a huge difference, because when we're constantly in this realm of negativity, when we're constantly focusing on the things that we don't want, that's all we're thinking about. We're thinking about what could go wrong, what's bad, what we're lacking, what we're afraid might happen, versus looking at things in a positive light, which not only for us is different in terms of the way that our thoughts and the chemical reactions that happen in our mind and body based on these different types of thoughts, because they are very different. Negative thoughts have like a physiological, a visceral, a biochemical reaction, but it's also different in the way that we interact with other people. If you start to pay attention, like I was saying, you'll see how unpleasant it can be when people are constantly talking about what they don't want. And then you'll notice, and you've probably had this happen and just not consciously recognize why, but how pleasant it can be when people are just talking about what they do want and things are framed positively. There's so much, again, like I say this all the time, but there's so much that we can't control in life. So it's really important to control, or to like have integrity toward at least trying to control the things that we can, trying to improve our habits, trying to improve our mindset, things like that, because that's where, when the things that we can't control don't go our way, we still have this other half of things that we're doing to the best of our ability and we feel good about. When we're not doing any of it, when we're kind of like letting go or not taking advantage of, not practicing the things we can control, and the things we can't control don't go our way, that's when life seems chaotic and we just feel, helpless in a sense. So give that a try. Just try to become aware of what you're thinking about, how you're looking at things, instead of like, I don't want to be late for work, I want to be on time. And see how much different you feel thinking this way. See if you can notice other people that fall into one of the two categories, and notice like the difference in how you interpret, or like the difference in how you feel being around these people. But it all makes a difference. This is a small, subtle shift. But again, habits, my girlfriend and I were talking about this last night. Habits are like tiny little things, but when you add them all up, they have a huge impact. They all compound, and when we're doing things in a deliberate and particular way, these habits add up to make our lives better. They help to enhance it. And most of the time when we feel like our lives aren't where we want them to be, we don't need a revolutionary makeover. We don't need to hit the lottery. We don't need something way different. We just need to make slight changes to kind of like get us in the right direction, get us moving in the right direction. And then over time we can make bigger changes if needed. But it's so important not to overlook the small stuff. Thank you for watching.